No surprise, 3 minutes late. I do apologise, but it's all Sue's fault, obviously.
Evening. Yeah, it's my fault.
New phone, didn't know if it was working, don't know if it's working. It's snuggling a bit to Sue. Have a drink of water.
You've got water, I've got rum.
Is anything happening? There's no little faces yet. Oh, here they come. Here, a few faces popping in. So, do you reckon we should try and turn this camera around and see what happens?
Yeah, try it.
Right, this could all go horribly wrong, folks. Doodly-doo.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
no.
rotate your device.
Oh, wouldn't let me do it.
How annoying.
Hi, Gary. How you doing? Trev. Good to see the things. Colin, not long now, mate. You'll be down here. It's looking good. Stephen Baines, Ian, Paul. Great to see a few people. Hi, Sue from Stephen. The trouble is we can't be that close because it would look wrong. Yes. So, good evening, Terry, Lee. How you doing? Nice to see you. That was a pretty fish and a pretty background, Lee. Neil Watson, how you doing, buddy? Andre, all the way from Slovakia. Hope you're away, Andre. We'll be speaking again soon. Beanie, how you doing? Want to see the fish shown in Ben's today, Beanie? You'll be absolutely frothing at the mouth to get to them. Gary King, how you doing? So, what I'll do is start off. I should imagine if anybody's got any sense. Hi, James. How are you? Good to see you again. You'll all be down the beach eating ice creams. We went to Westford Ho to get some maggots, didn't we? And we couldn't even find a parking space, so we just got maggots and no cream tea, which was what I promised Sue. But there we go. So tonight's prize is awesome, unique third hook design in the chop patterns. So all you got to do is send yes to the Pallatrax messenger page. Yes to the Pallatrax messenger page. What's Gary saying here? Hi, Steve. You all right? Just back from the quay. We're in the background on last week's live. Ah, good stuff. Yeah. Bob did well, I thought. He did really well. So hope you had an awesome trip as well, Gary. I have to win. Tell me. You, well, you did once, didn't you? And then somebody stole your prize. Paul, how you doing, mate? I'm going to try and push this back a little bit so see if we can get Sue in as well, because Sue is here. Now we're going to be miles away. Matt Wise, good evening. Matt, you are on fire, matey. On fire. Vince, all the way from Canada. So we've got Canada and Slovakia. So good to see you. Richard Ward. Alan, how you doing, sir? Just whilst a few more have joined. So there we go. Carp team win their Tri Nations. Oh, Sue's been watching the cricket. But yeah, so if you want to win the set of the chod hooks in the grips design, all you got to do is send yes to the Pallatrax Facebook Messenger page. I'm doing quite
You're doing really well now, aren't you, Matt?
So what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, I'm going to start off with hit, rinse and repeat. There you go, sir. Bob's getting better than with being live. Yeah, he's it's good out there. Evening, Adam. How are you? Hope well with you and your family. Right. So what are we going to try and do here? Oh, I can push that down. Is there's been some talk about sorry, you know, Sue's not being shut out. She'll speak to you in a minute. She's got some questions to ask. Haven't you, Sue? So I'll stand in the background and butt in, obviously. I've got a couple of demos because we're going to talk about the filming with Carpology tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. There's an interesting take, and I've had a bit of a... What did we say the word was? It was too difficult for me to say. Epiphany. Epiphany. One of them. I've had one of them, apparently. And we'll talk about that. But the one thing is, I suppose it's... I don't know. And I say there's never any arrogance with me. It's just, you know, for years I've been saying, you know, we're talking many years. Hi, Robert. Hope you had a nice fishing day with your brother today. Great stuff. Great stuff. there's so many more ways to skin a cat, as they say, and it's the same with fishing. And I personally believe we've gone very much off down like almost like one road, and there's lots of different roads that lead to catching fish. And that's what this carpology film's all about. It's basically me and Sue in session, fishing how I would normally fish. Which is something I don't really get the opportunity to do, to be quite honest. It's especially when the market's focused on, you know, carp, and so, you know, I'm aiming at carp fishing and things like that. And I really am doing myself a disservice, because I said when I had Pallatrax lakes, you know, I didn't fish for another species. But like what this is going to be is this film, I think, will be dead interesting, because it'll be about how else I catch carp. And, you know, we'll be using the new iBite system. There will be a different film on that, completely separate, which we're going on. When are we doing that?
3rd of June.
3rd of June. We're very lucky to have a nice water to be doing that. But one of the things I've always said, and it's like people like me and Tim Hodges and like cronies like that. Good evening, everyone. That's from Stephen. How you doing, mate? And it's all about rigs, and obviously I'm pretty fastidious in how I make my rigs. I make the LQ rigs for team members and the team exclusive, and they are an exact replication of the rig that I can't personally beat. Now, it causes loads of controversy, and obviously there's loads of good rigs out there, but mine is part of a system, and it's always been basically a short rig, okay? And there's a reason. We're not trying to be different from the market. We are fundamentally different because, you know, with no arrogance, there's obvious flaws in some of it. Oh, there you go, Ian Rooker. Yes, I've been enjoying the iBite. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one when I really kind of show people how we're doing it and why we're catching so many fish outside of just fishing on the bottom rods. But anyway, as always, I digress. So again, if you look at so much within carp fishing, to me, with my background of whatever I've done, whether it's me boats in Bermuda or, you know, fly fishing on a little stream on Dartmoor or match fishing or whatever, what length is the rig showing, Pom? It's 4.5 inches, Richard. And these are the rigs, and they're 4.5 inches for a reason. I will sometimes extend slightly. It all depends with certain factors, but I've never ever go like above 5.5 inches full stop. You know, people say, oh, I'm fishing deep silt, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Well, like I say, I'm looking for that consistency, so when I go out, and because consequently I've been using short rigs, a lot of that has come not just from fishing all the time for them, hi Dan, but also from a lot of underwater stuff we've watched. Obviously, you know, there's a whole host of things that's happened to me in the last 26 years. And what you've got out there, and come on, folks, you have to admit, and I'm not being awkward here. Oh, Mr. Shaw, how you doing, Uncle Rich? Speak soon. Just on that, he's reminded me of something. 24th of June, if you're about loose end, there's a little posse of us. We're having a stand and some demos at the Carp Society's. What's it called? It's called something different this year, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like a celebration of carp fishing or something. Anyway, it's a show. It's Carp Society, Lechlade, 24th of June. So if you're about, come and see us. Because Rich will be there, as he always is.
My mum's watching.
Hello,
Hello,
mum's watching. Oh, hello, mum. Hello, mum. We're looking after her. She's been all right. She's been all right so far. So yeah, so going back to rigs, why do I fish a short rig? And basically, is it the 29th, isn't it? Oh. You would know. Come on, Sue. You should be. She's marketing director, and it's all on me. Oh, Festival of Carp. There it is. Festival of Carp. So, why do I fish a short hook link? Well, if you look at all other areas of fishing, like I say, like I've done, we've never. I suppose the match angler. The match angler is the person that puts themselves there to prove they're good at match fishing, and the only way they can do that is by winning or at least framing every week. And so if this is where I come, you know, you've got thousands of people out there, millions or hundreds of thousands or whatever, match fishing across Europe. And, yeah, see you there, Matt, see you there. Yeah, so I've got that completely wrong. Nothing changes, and I blame Sue completely. It's the 29th, apparently. on the Saturday 29th. So if you think about it, you look at the match angler, and they're basically, if they're fishing the method, which is what I particularly fish. And again, it's all about ingredients. When people say to me, "Oh, the method's no good," it's like, well, method's just a name. It's what it's made of. Hi, Daniel. Oh, where's that? Oh, sorry, Steve. I guess it's the Carp Sarti at Lechlade. It's a really nice open day air. You can wander around. It's beautiful. Wow, to be honest, it's one of my, it's where I got my teeth into bigger carp fishing, and yeah, nice people, nice place. Could only get bites at LQ using a lock slider. Yeah, well, that's the trouble, Gary. I mean, that was the trouble for us. We had so much bad weather at the Cree. You've only got to follow Bob's lead, and how many fish they catch out the margins. And, to do anything different would be, yeah, if it works, fine. But, unfortunately, it tends not to. And when they're in that mood and they're tight into those margins, yes. But anyway, so back to hook links. So if you look at the match angler on the feeder, it's always basically a 3-inch hook link. So again, loads of people come out with loads and loads of different things. Oh, the fish will take it, won't go in the mouth, it won't do. Like I say, and unfortunately, most of this kind of stuff is based on assumptions. So therefore, the circumstantial, well, not even the full evidence, is why do match anglers fish that? And it's for a whole host of reasons. One, basically, the hook bait is in amongst the method mix. Everything's concealed with food, as long as it is food. If you think about if you're fishing, if you've done any float fishing and you're fishing on the deck, you don't have, for your bottom weight, have a really long, you might have 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So why are we therefore fishing with all these long hook links and inconsistent lengths, and therefore getting inconsistent results with so many different component parts? But the thing is, you get, if you think about it, you get much better bite detection. I mean, we don't fish the bolt rig unless it's a situation on a day, a variable. I always look at going, especially fishing any venue, it's like visiting different golf courses. You have to take different things on the day and things like that. So you're still going whacking a white ball around the place, but you'll have to do it differently for different courses. Wind variations, all the different things that, whether that's a good analogy or not. So if you look at this rig, because we're not fishing this bolt rig effect, which is everybody's saying, well, what happens? The fish comes down, it sees the bait, and senses the bait, whatever you want to look at it. And then it comes down and it picks up the bait and the hook slightly pricks it, and then the fish zooms off and hooks itself. Well, that is only true sometimes. And a lot of the time, and you'll see, this is what's great about underfishing in Belgium, or Galen, one of our team members in Canada, we can see what the truth is. And if you're seeing every time longer rigs, they're not presenting properly, they're, I've got a hook stuck in my finger at the moment, that's why I'm trying to get this out of the bag, which isn't as easy. So I think that a lot of companies are realising that there is more ways to actually catch carp. And the owner of a very, very well-known company, I'm not here trade bashing, I'm not interested in that, I'm too mature to get involved with that. But if I just turn the camera around and you'll see what I'm talking about. Oh, hang on. So there we go. All right. So that is, the go-to length. And that's 4.5 inches long. And why do I want it any longer? Now, the gentleman this week who actually said, and I say, I'm not here to, I'm just making an observation that for all the time that I've known this guy, so 25, 26 years, he's always advocated for long hook links. And I was at a show with him, he was on a stand next to me, and somebody asked him that question, why do you fish 9-inch hook links? And he said, to get it away from the lead. So if that's the reason you're fishing just to get it away from your lead, you're therefore compromising things. No worries, John. How's your dad, Pom? Thanks, Dev, so much for asking. yeah, it's not good, but he's still holding in there. So thank you for asking. Hi, Steve. How you doing? I need to get some of the pole float style bites. There's one there, isn't there, Sue? Where are they? There's somewhere in there. Yeah, we're on the film we're shooting soon, Steve. I think you'll love those. We're going to be showing everything. Anyway, so you're fishing a rig for the wrong reasons, if that makes sense. So if you get rid of the lead, there's no that doesn't come in, because we're fishing a natural rock. It doesn't really, it makes no difference. So why would we sacrifice performance just because we're fishing a stone? Well, you won't. You'll get better performance. And because we're not fishing the bolt rig effect, we're using a tight line to do that for us. We're actually fishing very, very light weights. And so we're getting really good bite detection. And it's interesting now, like I say, it's doing the rounds at the moment, that this guy is saying, fish really short hook lengths, you'll catch so many more fish, so many more fish. And so for 25 years, there's been that, at least there's been that narrative to fish rigs for the wrong reason, i.e. trying to get away from the lead. Of course, there's lots of variables, and we could sit here forever and talk that. Same guy who fished longer hook lengths. Hi Aaron, hope you're well. So it's just food for thought. We've seen another company now replicate the squabs, very well known company, and using the same marketing information, as I say, anti-eject and one thing that doesn't roll, and all the benefits you get from a different shape. Boilies are only round because the machines make them round, because it's the most profitable way to make it. What's Steve saying here? We'll be using the iBite pole style. Well, this is the one that we're going to be, like I say, it looks like a pole float. If you haven't seen the iBites, these will be coming very soon. And you have tiny weeny little battery there. And a little top. Do these ones come with different tops? I can't. Some of them come with different coloured tops.
I think those
and then
do.
you can see how bright that is. What I'll do is I get Sue just to turn the lights off quickly, and then I'll hold it in my hand. As you might even see it through my fat fingers. Yeah, you can actually. Yeah. Ooh, that's actually through the other side of my hand. Yeah. And I was out there the other night. I wasn't on this one, and off it went. And it's just so exciting seeing that disappear. So yeah, these are coming soon, iBites. So watch this space. But that's the one you're on about, I think, Lee. Anyway, lights, camera, action. Thank you, Sue. So I'm going to be moving across shortly. But I was just, before I then go and we talk about the filming. So because Sue doesn't even know what she's doing on that yet. So I better take control of that one. But we basically fish as a team. But just food for thought. You've been told, or the industry's been telling you, and all the other countries are telling you, yeah, it's all fully waterproof, John. Proper water. These are really good. It's taken me ages to source them. So just think about the length of your rig, and the longer it is, or the shorter it is, it's going to change the dynamic of the performance. And I promise you, I don't fish on short hooks. We've proved it. You've proved it yourself. You're just getting so many more bites. Don't just fish the bolt rig because it's based on assumption. Yes, there's some truth to that assumption sometimes, but when it doesn't work, we know for a fact, again, from underwater footage, where fish have literally, it's part of their DNA, I suppose now, they get the hook pricked. And because the lead doesn't move, because of the density, people are using 3 or 4 ounce, expecting that heavier lead to ram the hook home. The fish actually gets rid of the hook using the weight. So, you've really got to open our mind. I think we should all open our minds. We all should look back in the old days. But it's not carpy fob. Looks like a fishing rod for a borrower. Yes, there you go. That's Steam Link. That's the wonders of Steam Link. So awesome rig. So yeah, I'm going to pass over to Sue. Before though, I'm going to, if you would like to win, now it's getting weedy out there, those fans of the chops. But what I will say as well, lots of folks now are using these as on the surface and having incredible results. So don't just think they're a chod hook. Excellent surface hook, and they will because they're based on the wide gate with a few changes and things like that. So if you fancy winning those tonight, just send yes through to the Pallatrax page. that's enough from me for the minute. I will come back shortly, so I will move this across to Sue.
Well,
and
thanks, sir.
yes.
Evening all. See, I was really here hiding behind the scenes. So we've got quite a few. Well, we've got about 5 or 6 questions to go through tonight. But before I do, just want to do a quick shout out about our fish-ins and what spaces we've got. So, all kinds of comments coming in there. That's where the running rig comes into its own.
Just make sure people. This is obviously on the main.
Yeah. So, for anybody who doesn't know, obviously we run the team, which is it's a free initiative to join. Hi, Lee, and Steve and Dan. Everybody's saying hello to me now, so don't worry. I've been here all along. I've heard you all. So, we obviously have the team going in the background, which is a free to join initiative. As part of that team, we run various fish-ins throughout the UK and abroad, to be fair. So anybody who isn't a team member who wants to join, just go onto the website and click. Yes, I have got new glasses, Beanie. Yes, indeed I have. There's £500 I won't get back from these in my Polaroids.
I hope they're video ones then.
Yeah, no, they're just bog standard glasses that I can see with. Yeah, I'm getting old and my eyesight's getting worse. So, morning Sue, morning Lee. So, as I say, if you go onto the website, you'll see a link to hit to join the team. There's also, after this, I'll put the link back up onto the main page for people. So, as I say, we've got various fish-ins. We've got 4 down here this year. To be fair, all bar the December one have sold out. He's playing with his, you're not on there.
No, not on there.
You were then for a second. They've all sold out by the December one at the minute, so there are 3 spaces on the fishing from the 5th to the 8th of December. But because of the popularity, and we've asked, we've managed to squeeze some extra dates in for another fishing, which is going to run from Thursday the 3rd of October to Sunday the 6th of October. So it'll be 71 hours fishing, £90 a head. And you'll also get either a free barbecue. There'll be a barbecue one evening, or if the weather's atrocious, then it'll be an evening meal. So it's not on the website as yet under the team exclusives, but it will go live by tomorrow. So that's that one. We've also got the raffle that's running for Ashmansworthy Pools at the minute. There's still some tickets for that. So if you're interested in that, just give the office a call. During office hours, and obviously we'll get the tickets as soon as they're all sold. We'll get that drawn, and that's for 48 hours on Jack's Pool. We're going back to the River Wye this year, and we've got 7 spaces. In fact, I think we're down to 6 spaces now. That's the 21st and 22nd of September. Lots of lovely chub came out last year. I mean, there was some absolutely beautiful barbel came out of that stretch as well, just not when we were there. So we're on a bit of a mission to go and get some barbel there this year. So it's fishing dawn till dusk, and then stay on the campsite just round the corner. And we'll also have a barbecue the first night as well, just so anybody who doesn't know one another gets to know one another, etc. So we then have Top Cats out in Koh Samui in Thailand. We're there from the 12th to the 22nd of October. It's a 10-day holiday with 7 days fishing, and we've still got 3 spaces for that. So if you can also take a non-fishing partner free of charge. So accommodation and everything's paid for with that. You just need to obviously get your flights and pay for food on top, but that is quite cheap. So some absolutely amazing fish out there. We had an absolute scream last time we were there, and had sort of over 100. We were a bit bad because we lost count of fish. We were catching that many. So we'll go out this year a little bit better armed than last year, and we'll take some better
I
paper.
hopefully won't have COVID this time.
No, yeah, hopefully we won't all have COVID, and we'll be a bit more up for it. So so that's the fishing spaces. We then have some, if you're wondering what that noise is as well, it's Pom with his mixing bowl ready to make some method mix for you. So we have various questions. So how about, do you want to do that while I talk through the questions? We can multitask.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You don't know if we can multitask.
Well, shall I do this and then you read through the questions,
yes,
and then we can go?
Let's
right,
do that.
So you've got me. Hi, Wayne, saying good evening. Right, so loads of different ways to catch carp. And since having my new fishery, and I don't say this with any arrogance at all, a lot of people have come into carp fishing especially, and all kinds of fishing. Certainly in more recent years with obviously COVID and one thing and another. And there's been a focus on one way to catch carp, I suppose, which is the modern narrative, which is, you know, your alarms and, you know, the rigs, etc., etc., etc. So every company kind of fishes the same way, other than Pallatrax. And we don't do it to be bloody minded or arrogant or ignorant. It's just like, I say, a lot of us have been fishing a long time. It doesn't stack up if you look at other ways we've all fished and how you can catch huge fish on floats and all this kind of stuff. And you'll learn then how many times you get a bite on a float and how, you know, how you can catch one on a float, but also how many times you are missing bites if you were to transfer that into fishing on a bait runner. John Elding, the UK record carp was caught just down the road from me. Absolutely beautiful specimen. Some full Pallatrax rig. Well, I mean, we've had so many fish, John. I mean, I don't do gimmick. You know, the irony is, if you said to me, where's the gimmick? I don't want to sound rude or anything, but I think a lot of stuff out there is to catch anglers. And I've had 2 tackle shops. So it wouldn't surprise me, John. There's a lot of very, very good anglers, and they have done for a long time. They, like me, they weren't sucked in by the narrative. You must use this big heavy lead for, you know, yada, 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 yada. We're using a natural weight, and we're catching some kahuna fish of all different kinds of species. So, because suddenly you're almost free lining along the bottom using a rock as your weight, and the weight, the word definition for lead isn't lead for a fishing weight, it is a fishing weight. It can be like made of stone. Never leave home without the method me. Right, so what I'm going to do now is just going to show you another, and this is such an exciting way of fishing, and you've had some nice fish doing it now, haven't you? And this is, you know, you're scaling down, you're doing all these things, but the most important thing is you're actually fishing another kind of string to your bow. So, you know, we're in that. And look, I'm a bait manufacturer, and I'm the first to say, don't buy a lot of my bait because of the nutritional value. Something that never gets talked about. People say, I put out 10 kilos of bait. What does that actually mean? But also, there's a lot of other baits that you can be using that have never broken. You know, luncheon meat, cheese, and the thing I'll show you in a minute. So how do I do this? So what I'm going to show you first, and I'll turn the camera around, so bear with me folks, because this is like I say, anybody can do this. This is so easy, and it's so effective, and it's so much fun. This is, I mean, I had a fish the other night on Bends, and I'm actually trying to catch a small fish. We've got some fish coming through on Bends that I've never seen anything like it. So I've gone out there with an aim to try and catch the smallest fish in the lake, and I didn't catch the biggest, but I caught a lovely mid-double, and I'm literally fishing on a float rod and this system, and it towed me all around the place. It was great. The heart was going, you know, it was just amazingly good fun. And again, too easy to forget all that. Right, let me just poke this round, and I say it's just so easy to let me just try and move that light over there. So you don't need to spend a fortune on, you know, the baits. This is so cheap, and this catches fish. Why? Sweet corn is not something with a huge nutritional value, protein, etc., etc. But what it does is it's full of natural sugars. Is that why fish love it? Gorgeous. You know, I don't like sweet corn.
I love sweet corn.
I hate sweet corn. No, it's
I would
something I don't like.
eat it straight out of that tin.
You probably will in a minute.
Yeah.
So that's the bait I'm using, and this is the setup I'm using. And I say we're going to be doing a film with Carpology. This, you know, a lot of team members have seen this. I've somehow stuck it. So I'm going to try and explain this. So I've got my eye bite, okay, and this one again, just to show you again, they've got this really quality waterproof housing. Battery, yeah. So again, this is proper. This is like Darth Vader's wand. It's let me just switch that off. And so yes, this is a right beacon at night. And we'll show you. There's lots of ways of fishing it. So all I'm fishing that, and I'm fishing that basically running. So I'm not fishing it tight. Let me screw it all back together. And these are so well made compared to anything else I've managed to source. So now I've managed to tangle everything. So all I've got is a couple, I put 2 float stops on, okay, and 2 float stops either side. And I can change that up and down. But the important bit is this bit. And you do not have to fish a hair rig to catch a carp. Sorry it's out of focus, folks. I don't know, that's just me. So all I've got is basically the same. Without the trapping system, which is what you get from a hair rig, I'm here fishing much more effectively because my hook is right on the bait, and by using the little stone, you know, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this up to put it in the tank, and I'm going to pass you back to Sue so she can ask you a couple of questions. So here's Sue.
Like a well-oiled machine here, aren't we?
Well, we've done it enough times.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right. So, question number 1 in from Rob Raya. Raya? I'm not sure if I'm saying that wrong, so I apologise. So he asks, with the price of fishing licences going up to help maintain waterways such as rivers and canals, do you think there should be a separate licence for anglers who only use lakes, albeit a day ticket, club or syndicate, as the people only fishing lakes do not benefit from the extra costs needed to maintain the waterways? Nice question, Rob.
Well, I'm just going to come in from the background on that one. It's quite a complicated subject, actually, when you get in the trade on it and you're looking at it from all the different angles. You know, how much of our money that we're putting is actually, where's it going? And that's one thing. You know, I'd suggest a lot of it goes on to wages of people involved in the EA and angling trust and things like that. But so it should separate license for people who only use lakes. I don't know. I don't. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I'd like to know where the money is spent, because are we getting benefit as anglers? Full stop. I'm not sure we are. I'd like to know if we are. Not just being told we are. But at the end of the day, whilst we've got to pay a licence, I think that's it. We've just got to have I mean, you look at me. I've got my own lakes in my back garden, basically, and I still got to have a licence to fish those. So a strange one.
Yeah, it's quite different, isn't it? Well, in New Zealand, they have like a 2 or 3 tier licence system where you pay a basic licence to fish. Apart from sea fishing's free in New Zealand, anybody can go and fish in the sea, which is kind of ironic because in New Zealand they pretty much eat everything they catch as long as it's of a standard size. But if you want to go and fish up the high country, for example, in some of the reservoirs and lakes up there where you'll catch beautiful trout and stuff, again, that you can eat, then you pay a higher value licence to be able to fish those waters. So potentially they could introduce something like that here, but like you said, that for me, where is that money spent? That's got to be the biggest thing, because it's difficult to say that people in lakes aren't getting any value from it, or are they? Because if you look at somewhere like yours, private lake, what do you get from the year? And I would suggest absolutely nothing.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I have to pay for a licence. Yeah. If I was only to fish here, I just don't. But at the end of the day, we're all in this together. As long as that money's going somewhere that promotes, you know, fishing, whether it's bringing juniors and women and disabled anglers into the sport, or, you know, whatever it's doing, as long as it's doing it for the right reasons. And I struggle sometimes to see, you know, that happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So Terry Blake is asking, so with fish getting bigger and bigger these days, what size or weight of fish determines whether it's classed as a specimen within the species? A chub was £5 and above and a barbel was £10 and upwards. Have the goalposts moved now? It was just a thought that I had while sat by the lake the other evening. Really good point, because you're right.
Yeah, you know, when I was a kid, if somebody caught a £10 barbel, it was all over the front Anglo Times.
Yeah.
It was huge news, and now, you know, it's not that difficult to go to waters that hold fish a lot bigger. You know, obviously we're going into, what's it, 21 pounds and so many ounces for the record one. But I don't know, you know, it is an interesting question, I suppose, for people who are interested in that side of fishing. For me, I fish for the joy of it. All I want to do is catch fish on balance gear. So whether it's a small perch or a big trout or a bass, I want to be catching them on gear I can enjoy the fight with. So obviously, if you're a specimen angler and you look at the weight of your fish to be that kind of yardstick to success, you could say, I don't think there is actually, you know, something out there that says this weight is a specimen fish, as in like a regulated thing, because you know, one person's idea of a specimen fish isn't the other's. So you know, I can understand what you're saying, but for me, I'm more about the pleasure than thinking that way. I don't class myself, I suppose, as a specimen angler.
No, it's true. I mean, the only thing I can think of regarding the sizes of specimen used to be improve your course fishing. Had the little thing where you could apply for your badges, but I mean that's gone now.
The back of your fisherman's handbook.
Yeah.
You know, I used to get
these
these books. I think it's outside, isn't it? My copies. Oh, hang on a second. Oh well, we'll prove something. You're going to get me back. My rugged good looks. Stand by one.
That's
right.
One that I pulled out.
These are the real deal, folks. If you want to get, I still have some of those badges. Remember them badges, Sue? Wow, yeah, we've all get. Having a more complicated size would be more expensive to please. So, well, yeah, you're probably right there, Phil. So, anyway, a plug for old, and I was talking about this on the team page last week. This is somewhat of a Bible, and there's 3 of these in the series. You can get them on eBay, Fisherman's Handbooks. And they are basically, the reason why these are so good, up to this point, there were centuries of people fishing and sharing that knowledge freely. Yeah, there's no advertising, or certainly no heavy advertising. And advertising came into the written, and then obviously the narrative completely changed because they were advertising, and therefore, you know, you get the microphone, so to speak, and there you pull your narrative across. Whereas in here, and some people will probably be bored. I'm just trying to find one that's going to be, because it's all what I love as well. It's all, I'm trying to find one that will be really relevant to today. Well, yeah, this will be a good one. So, like I say, in there, it's all stuff written from the heart. So it's hand-drawn pictures, but it's explaining all these different things like insect, all the things I was brought up on. So here we've got, hopefully you'll be able to see it. So this was 1976, I think these came out. So if you've got the Wells record, so, you know, if you look at the notable fish, I suppose are the specimen fish. And so you've got a fish of 34 pounds. And then, you know, the record at that time was a 43.5 pound Wells catfish. So, like you're rightly saying, it's changed dramatically. But, hey ho, right, I'm going to show you this bit. Remember sending me my pictures and everything to them? Yeah, it was good. And unfortunately, to be quite honest, Improve Your Course Fishing was still carrying on doing that. I think the Times still do it. I can't remember now, but yeah, now Improve Your Course Fishing is gone. Yeah, that's gone as well. So, right, I'm just going to show you how I load this and what we do next with it. So, honestly, folks, just try this. It's just, you don't have to use an iBite. You can use any float. The setup is so easy. It's so cheap. But also, you've got to be really accurate, really fast, just like the match angler. So, here we go. Right, so I've got my, forget the float now. We know how the float works. And what have I managed to catch now? Stand by, technical problems. So right, to explain this, and hopefully I can get this in. So I've just got this running freely. Yeah, big ring there, so really free. Then I've got a bead, and then I've got inside that bead, I've got a float stop. And inside, on the outside, towards the hook, I've got further float stops. So I haven't got a swivel. You know, a lot of people, it's like, you know, people have reels, they think they've got a cast. Well, you haven't, and you don't have to have a swivel. So I can change the length of this hook link just by pulling it down and pulling it up. And there's loads of pressure on that, so I can change my hook link without having to take it off, try and, you know, put a different swivel on, or, you know, whatever, a different hook link. So then you come to the business end. So we've got the small running stone, the buffer bead with the that's terrible, getting terrible. I don't know how to hold all this, but float ledger exactly, Phil, good old school. Now what you do have to do, and again going back to the prep of hook baits, but it's not just about you know, the quality of it, but it's also the exposure of the gape. So if you can see there, they're more than happily impaled on there, but the gape is completely exposed. So you can see that, I put my hand there. So so basically your bite is so much, you know, more chance of hitting that point there. And so the next stage of the game is, again, it really is all about the bait, but it's all about the ingredients. So here's some Daphthia maggot, which is basically high protein fish food, for want of a better, and because it stimulates fish into feeding, and we've got it wrapped around our stone. But this is what I do. I use this stuff all. Unfortunately, at the moment, this is only team exclusive. So team members, you're lucky, but everybody else will have to wait. It's coming, I promise you. Gamma shrimp. This is a European gamma shrimp, very, very similar to the species we've got here. It's all been irradiated, so it's all good. What size and hook style? I am basically a size 10 wide gape, because I'm fishing for, you know, bigger fish, obviously, and they're more than. But the big thing, Colin, is having a rod. You know, some of these rods now, you know, like 6 foot, 3 pound test curves and things like that, they're just no good. You've got to have a rod that bends, and you play the fish on the bend. So anyhow, gamma shrimp. So I'm going to overload this with a bit of the old shrimp. And the reason we're putting this in, so it's a natural food source. And basically, this will cause this to happen. Let me just make sure it's wet enough. You can also put sprinkle in, though I tend not to on this. I tend to cup it all out, and say the film we're doing tomorrow, we'll be doing exactly how I personally believe I should be fishing. You know, I can only draw you to my conclusions. It's down to others to, you know, to make your own decisions. There's never any pressure to buy anything. You do what you do. So all I'm going to do now is, like we do with the main stone system, I'm just going to put a big dollop of this. And don't forget, we're not going to be casting this. We're going to be putting this out with a spoon. So we'll be getting it just like the match angler. Okay. So if I can pass that to my assistant. So this would just go out in a spoon, and you know exactly every time where you're going to drop it. Okay. And the reaction is, because of the gamma shrimp there, let me try and get in a bit. Oh, that's not working very well. Let me try. So what's going to happen is that will now just start exploding. And basically, because of the ingredients that we know, a lot of that, about, well, probably 70% actually comes from fish farming, the koi market, things like that. And so what will happen is, because you're now breaking that down, yes, you're sending bits all up through the different water levels, but also you're going to end up with a heap of food. Like you say, look at those pieces of, let me just try and get a better light. Is that better or is that worse?
That's really good.
And so obviously what you've got there is your hook baits there. And then you've got basically all of that crumbling down, because I've not really packed that round the stone. If I'm hoofing it out like on my 2.75s, which is the highest test curve rods I use, but because we're just literally cupping it out, I want it to break down. I can control its breakdown speed. And so what I'm going to do now, folks, is I'm going to pass you back to Sue to answer the next question. We can come back to that in a minute, and you'll see what's going on.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so the next question was from Simon Cruddas out at Topcats. Thank you. It says, what's the difference between Gamma Edge and the one we use? Probably an obvious answer, but let's see. So Gamma Edge is the Gamma fluorocarbon line, and the one you use is the standard, well, it's not the standard core polymer, but it's the Gamma.
The irradiated.
It's the irradiated.
Yeah, it's the irradiated. So like Sue says, the edge is the fluorocarbon. So it's a very special fluorocarbon because it's been irradiated. But it's, totally different line than the Polyflex. Fluorocarbon is not of the same ingredient as Polyflex.
So then we have Dave McNeil. One question I would ask Simon, is there a chance the grips could come in a size 7? He doesn't like jumping from a size 8 to a size 6.
No, Davey, in all honesty. And I don't say that outrageously, obviously each to their own. But in all honesty, I believe when you see like these odd number hooks, and again, it's each to their own. I'm not here to critique, it's all about enjoying the sport. But the truth of the matter is the industry not just selling us more and more and more stuff. And do we really need it? And if you look at our hooks when they go from the grips, because we obviously only do the grips design, there's only a minimal amount of change in size, and it certainly wouldn't. Obviously, when you're match fishing or something like that, it becomes more relevant.
While you're talking, I'm just going to flip that round because that is going mental. It's all dropping off.
Hang on a second. Sue wants me to change my light. So you can probably... Oh,
that's really breaking all the big bits.
Let me see if I can zoom in on my new phone. I got a new phone, so you can imagine. So yeah, so you've just got basically a pile of sweet corn and food, and that's why it works. It's not rocket science, but you've got to be quiet. That's the thing I notice. People aren't doing these kind of things anymore, and I promise you, you will get far better bite detection. And in my personal opinion, it's more fun. It's great fun watching that tip. It takes you back to when I was a kid and then seeing it. But also what you do is you see all the little nudges and things like that, which you would never, ever get. And
the fight's incredible.
Well, on balance gear, you're not kind of pumping them in on a 4-pound tip. I can't get my head around. As a fishery owner, I'll just strongly say this. I think the industry's got it completely wrong by getting people to buy 4-pound test curve rods as their go-to rods. Because not only do you not feel it, they might use them at extreme range when you're kind of boating out. I don't know, God knows how much different. But even then, a 3-pound would do any road. But the trouble is what you're having anglers therefore, and of course, affordability, they can't have lots of different rods. So using 4-pounders, going to waters which hold, smaller fish, let's just say 10 to 15 pounds, and the fish is going that way, and you're holding a broomstick this way, which is really, in reality, a spod rod or a catfish rod or something like that. And because there's no give, the main weak point comes the mouth. And a lot of people are bumping fish, especially at the way. So there you go. What's that Paul saying? Well, was float edging the other day in the margins next to pads and gasp for what I am after. Carp, I said, that won't work. He stood there, I've lifted by 10. Just like, I don't believe it. No, well, no, it's kind of what I worry about is all this stuff's going to get lost in the mists of time. You've got all these young guns, these influencers on the YouTube and Facebooky thing, they followed a narrative that's been put out there, fine, but you must understand it is only a single narrative. It's only one way to catch carp, and in all honesty, personally, I think it's the most ineffective way, not just because of the inconsistencies, because we're not recognising like the nutritional value of baits, for example. So when we're doing this filming, we've obviously got maggots, we've got corn. I'd be mad just to say, oh, you've got to fish Pallatrax baits, because you haven't. It's an option, certainly when you're fishing it Yeah, we tend to fish really soft baits, pastes and things like that. But then you've got the inconsistencies that you're getting with different hook links, different hooks, different hook patterns, different shape kickers. You know, it goes on and on and on and on, different materials. You won't get consistency. When fishing that system there, the float ledger, set it up is so easy, so cheap. You can fish all night long on those, and we will show you in a couple of weeks when we do the iBite film exactly how we fish those at night on our main carp gear, which is quite interesting. So yeah, that is a problem personally for me. I don't let anybody fish here with rods under 10 foot. And obviously I won't have anything more than £3 test curve, and even then I think that's beefy. I'm a 1.75 man, and when we do the rods, which we're talking about soon, they will be 2.75 for the method, so they'll be built for the system, and then there'll be a 2.25, and ultimately we'll be going down lower than that. Didn't you break the industry, wanted to make money, so be it. Yeah, well, I know we sing off the same hymn sheet, Lee. Freelining a bunch of maggots on a size 6 and showing, yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? When you, and the heart, you know, it just as you see that fish, it's the same on the surface. You see that fish coming towards it, and then suddenly, or it suddenly spooks off, and you go, oh, you're all deflated. And then it takes it, and because you're on light gear, balanced gear, you've seen the bite, so it's the best way to catch any fish is to see them actually take the bait and hit it. So yeah, it's all good fun. But Sue's got another question. Let me go back to you.
Ian Ruker is saying, can't wait to use the floaters, but unfortunately the venues I use at the moment...
Where are you? You're not there.
No, I'm not there. I'm not a fish tank. Not yet, anyway. Ian said, sorry, can't wait to use the floaters, but unfortunately the venues I use at the moment don't allow surface fishing. Thinking about using them as a zig. Any thoughts? Don't see why not. You'd obviously...
They'd be short-term.
Yeah, they wouldn't. You'd have to test how long they would last on a hook, because they do go soft reasonably quickly, but you could extend that time, I would suggest, by glugging them. That should harden them up, I would think.
It does a bit, but in all honesty, it's one of those, sorry, I'll come back to me. I'm not saying don't do it, but if I was going to do it, because of the ingredient makeup, don't forget, we're talking about, this is what, you know, why we're using dog biscuits for floater fishing is beyond me, because it's dog food. You know, I'm using a premium, the best I can find, floating carp pellet that comes from within the fish farming industry. So you know it's been bred, sorry, it's been designed for that breed of fish. So what you could do is, and this is where the experimenting, you know, with your own bait, you could get them, put them in a blender, beat them into like a dust, and then you can add an egg, and then add some floatant, so you could wrap it around a cork ball and things like that, and boil it off and zig that, because that would then last obviously a lot longer. But you know, this time of year especially, you know, it's a depth dependent as well, different water temperatures, different depths. But we are obviously now coming into the warmer water, and they will break down too quickly, to be quite honest. So hopefully that answers that question.
And our last question for this evening comes from Uncle Rich Shaw. My question today is, do you pay attention to where around the mouth a fish is hooked when caught? What is the ideal position that you would like your rig to hook? Sorry, Pom's just taken a drink of water.
Well, you can answer that.
No,
you don't want me to? I thought you were. That's what you were doing. You were doing the questions and answers, and I was doing the difficult stuff. Should we just, it's almost like spot the bit of sweet corn now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
See if that's any better with the, so I've changed the light.
Look at that.
And so if I just use, yeah, where is the sweet corn? And that's what I'm saying, you know, it's all covered in food. And so if I just pull it out, there we go, and there they are. And so what you can see as well is now we've disturbed it, and you can imagine this getting disturbed, whether it's by smaller fish, and all you're doing is this is proper food, folks. You know, these shrimps are proper food. Everything in there is designed to basically attract the fish's olfactory system to find in, zone in on that bird table of food. Honestly, once we do that film, and we have got a very special venue, we're going to go and do it. I think that will be very good, won't it?
It will. And in answer to the question from before, Rich, for me, I guess, well, the first thing is I want the rig and the fish. I want the hook in the fish's mouth, because otherwise it doesn't count. But generally, you're looking at the bottom of the mouth. But sometimes you get top lip. It happens. I don't want it right in the corners, ideally, mainly because that's going to potentially cause damage. But it picks it up the way it picks it up. It's
well, if you think about it, if we're talking carp specific here, look at the mouth and the way it is. So if you see the way, certainly a pop-up, if you look at a pop-up and the way the hook hangs, it's kind of the natural physical thing to get it in the bottom mouth. That's not to say it works every time. Fish can feed at different angles, different fish do different things, you know, different pressure to suck something in. There's so many variables that go on. So sometimes you'll get it in a top lip. But like Sue says, what you don't want it to do, and again, it's just the odds factor. I don't think there's one way, especially with so many different rigs. I mean, to be fair, using the LQ rig, it tends to be just in the bottom lip, isn't it?
Bottom lip every time, pretty much.
You know, because if you think about it,
99 times out of 100, you know, it's middle of the bottom lip.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking for, because it's easy to remove. And if you think it's on a pop-up and it gets sucked in, you know, and if you look at the mouth of a rudd, it's an upturned mouth. You know, it's because it's a surface feeder. But obviously fish like carp, they're bottom feeders. Well, you know, to be fair, John, you know, we've got to be a little bit, you know, careful, I suppose, of making assumptions, because it's so difficult to analyse that one, because there's so many variables going on. But what, Steve, if your rig is set up correctly, most hookups should be in the middle. Well, you'd like to think so, Steve, but you know, you don't know every time you cast out how your hook is presenting. And going back to what I was saying before, with so many different rigs and different styles of doing the same thing, you're going to get different results. And, you know, that's what it is. Hi, Andrew. Hope you're well. So, yeah, you'd like to get it in the bottom, because, to be fair, you don't get any mouth damage. You don't get... you're in control of the fish, all the kind of things, the benefits, but you can never, I would suggest, you know, guarantee yourself 100% that you're always going to end up in the bottom. Because like I say, it might happen 99 times out of 100, and then on the 100th time you cast out, you know, and that could be sitting up like that. So how that would change, what Steve says, since using the LQ exclusive 18 carp and only, exactly, and that's what, you know, like I say, it's a designed rig. It's designed to do what it's doing, Steve, as you were well proving. It's a leap of faith, obviously, because, you know, who's Pallatrax and whoever will be paddling. We're just what we are, a group of anglers, basically, wanting to enjoy our sport and seeking to refine or produce the best quality and the most efficient. You know, Steamlink is, you know, my product. You know, it's you can't get better rotation. It's not a braided hook link. It's a Dyneema core. So it's totally different. Braid and Dyneema are two different products. And so, yeah, you will tend to get that, Steve, as you're proving, as we're proving. But if you think about it, when so many anglers are using so many different rigs and different interpretations, it's like when somebody says to me, I fished the Ronnie rig, and then somebody else says, I fished the Ronnie rig. And I'm looking at them both going, well, they're both the name. It's like saying, Rolls-Royce and Audi are exactly the same, because they're both cars. You know, these are Ronnie rig. There must be somewhere, I don't know, because I don't fish the Ronnie rig. I fish the LQ system, because I can't beat it. I can't beat its anti-tangling properties. I can't beat the rotation the Dyneema gives you. Far better rotation than any swivel. I don't like all the bulky bits and pieces anyway, knowing that a fish senses more than, well, we see it, they sense it, you know, in the same way, to be quite honest, but better. Because we can't see things at night, but they can still sense things exactly the same. So night and day, they are so attuned to the environment. But again, if you go back, Steve, like I was saying, you know, if you're fishing a 9-inch rig and somebody else is fishing a 6-inch rig, and it's totally different, it's yeah, who is Ronnie? That's what we all ask it. Yeah. What's that thing?
Where's Wally?
Where's Wally? We want to know where's Ronnie?
Where's Ronnie?
Because somewhere there must be, like this, you know, there must be somebody who's developed the Ronnie rig at the beginning. So therefore, to be fishing the Ronnie rig, everybody should be fishing exactly the same as the first one. So German turbo rig works a dream, in all honesty, but then again, so many working parts. And well, trouble is, I've heard Ronnie's had to come from Scouston in that one. Thank you very much for that. John, what I would say is, and again, I've worn so many hats in this industry, and one of them is obviously being massively involved in the retail side of it, but not just from a manufacturing point of view. The fact is, I've had 2 shops, and dare I say, I was in a shop today, and I don't go in very often because I end up buying stuff I don't really need, and we only got maggots there, didn't we?
We did very well. Really good.
They didn't have any paste coils, which is something I was looking at to show, and apparently they don't make them anymore. So there you go. It was just, it's like reinvention of the wheel, but so many companies selling exactly the same product, just in a different bag and a different slight twist on things. I believe in keeping it as simple as possible, and all the things that really don't get focused on: quality of bait, natural baits, positioning, quietness, all the kind of efficiency of bite detection is woeful. How many people fish slack lines? You can't get a backdrop indications. It's like a magpie on top of, yeah, exactly. Exactly, Lee. But Lee, to be fair, we've been friends for a long time now. You've been fishing the system, and you know how it works. The idea is obviously to spread the word that there is another way of going fishing, and there is another interpretation. And what happens? I suppose the question is, what happens? Somebody's got to be wrong or right here. Either we're wrong and they're all right, or we're right, they're wrong. That's it. One of those. You know what I'm on about. Because obviously every company is replicating each other in many ways. They're selling, the leaders, the clips, and all the jingly jangly bits that go with it. Whereas I'm doing exactly the opposite. I'm trying to be like the match angler, as unobtrusive as possible. And I think we've got it right. And if you just look on the team page, we can't keep up with catch reports, can we?
No.
It's impossible now. So many people are fishing either all or part of the system. We just literally can't keep up with it. So, after his dog Ronnie, was it? Oh, well, I don't know. But what I am saying, Steve, is that whoever made the original Ronnie rig, so whoever made the original Steamlink rig, okay, every rig therefore after should be exactly that design, and it isn't. Well, my fish count says they're wrong and we're right. You can fish to £47 and at least 1,200 fish in a few years. Can't be bad. No, Lee, and it's great. And I honestly, the proud thing for us is that people are now going out and they know why they're catching more fish. Yeah. We're using high quality ingredients of bait. We're using unobtrusive. We're using the best line in the world. Anybody that says, "Oh, Gamma's not as good as X, Y, and Z,"
no comment.
No comment on that one, John. But I certainly won't allow it in thing. I see it. Let's depersonalise it, folks. But no, we're just doing what we're doing, and we're enjoying it. And I think now, what's the word again?
Epiphany.
Epiphany. It's like we're just going to go back and show. Yes, we're going to talk about, I suppose, the modern narrative and how we've looked to improve at all levels. But so many ways to catch these fish. So many ways. He was at the football. God knows what you're on about, Lee.
Fun.
Oh, was he? Did they leave? I don't do football. Anyway, have we got any more questions?
No, that's all the questions are done.
So, folks, in brief then, tomorrow we kick off our first major revelation, don't we? Actually, because we're on the page as well, on the team page, I don't know if anybody's seen it here, we're doing the lead versus stone test, and I think that will be a bit of a shocker in time to come, so watch this space. But no, the idea tomorrow is me and Sue, we'll do Susan then for some reason. We're fishing on Jack's pool, which is the biggest lake here. I've got it here, Lee. Do not fail. It's just coming. And we're not just going to be fishing the fully loaded stone system. We'll be fishing the eye bites. We'll be surface fishing. We are just going to go and enjoy it and catch fish. We've got a couple of days to do it. Personally, I've only ever fished it for, I think the longest I've fished it for about is 3 hours ever since it's been, and I haven't fished it at all this year, I don't think. Did I go down? No, I haven't.
No, you're not.
And and I've never done a night here. So we got this 35 fish in the lake. It's certainly not easy, but we're going to make it easier. Yeah, Paul, I think you'll be shocked when you see what happens, but I won't let the cat out of the bag. So I will pass to Sue, because I will hold up. This is the live feed winner. So this person, this lucky folks, will win the chod, and don't forget they're awesome on the surface.
And the winner is Paul Henshaw.
You can't see it.
No, you can't see it. And it's backwards when
it's backwards.
If you can read backwards, well done, Paul. Send us a message with your address, and we will pop those in the post for you.
Just do this again. So you have to read this back to front.
Yeah.
Okay. That's actually why you look at my curtains, because I got fed up with everybody moaning that's saying everything's back to front. So I'm going to have a little banner made that makes sense.
I can make it work. Watch this. There you go. Congratulations, Paul. Ta-da!
There you go. There you go.
See?
You're so clever.
I know.
So, Paul, you've won those.
I'm wasted.
So, what we'll be doing, especially on the team page, Sue and I will be popping in over the next couple of days. So, watch out. We'll do some live feeds. We can get a signal down there. We'll certainly let you know how we get on. But it is a real start of I suppose, a new era, isn't it? There's lots of things happening. We're opening up all over the place. We just had inquiries from Ireland yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
Inquiries, and so yeah, it's all good stuff, and it's interesting what's happening over in Slovakia, which is with Andre and his team of people over there. That's going to be interesting.
We've got some new team members from Germany this week as well.
Yes, Germany. Word's getting out there. But like I said, there's never been a hidden agenda. It's just that an element of influence has managed to, I suppose, almost demonise what we're doing when, you know, perhaps the shoe's on the other foot. But interesting times for certain. But what was that? When's the fortnightly draw? The fortnightly draw is every fortnight, John.
So next week.
It's every live feed on the team page. So I draw it on the Sunday night. So next Sunday night will be drawn. And then I put a new one up next Monday. So that's every 13 days in essence. All right. So, yeah, so you'll have to wait another week, I'm afraid, John. So, anyway, folks, thanks for your time. I know it's a beautiful evening. We should all be out Bankside. If we could have done this, what we're gonna do one day is we're gonna actually build the confidence to try this outside. Yeah. We'll do it next week on the team, because you'll be here again. Yeah. We'll do it again. So any questions going forward, folks, don't forget the team is a growing, thriving community of friendly, safe place to ask questions. People are meeting each other, going fishing together. I just think it's a fantastic initiative. It's not profit driven or anything like that. If anything, Pallatrax basically sponsors it. But yeah, come and join the fun. It's some good stuff. So you need a Wi-Fi booster, Pom. Yeah, I'm sure I probably do. But what's that for?
That's technical. It's gone right over his head.
Yes. So you stay safe, folks. Weather permitting. Now we can do it under an umbrella. So from me, it's a good night. Take care. Stay safe. And from Sue,
good night, folks.
It's something very similar. So yes, lots happening, lots exciting. But thanks for being here with us this evening. And I will be back on the main page in 2 weeks' time. All right. Good night. Take care.